So you're gonna find the pH meters on these plastic tabs that look like these, and inside the tab there's gonna be the pH meter, and it's gonna be connected to a pH probe like this and a temperature sensor, like this one. Okay. The reason we are keeping everything in a tab is because we keep the tips of the probes submerged in a solution of saturated potassium chloride. We're worried that the potassium chloride could leak out of the bottle, and that's why we like to keep it in the buckets so that they're not on its side. It's supposed to be leak proof, but just to be sure that they don't leak at all, we like to keep them, I guess, upside up. We are going to have, you may find two different, all of these pH meters are what we call field pH meters. And we typically send them out with the students when they're going out on the field to take measurements. Because we are outdoors, we'd like that they're smaller and they run on batteries. So that's why you will be working with these field pH meters as opposed to like benchtop pH meters that you plug into the wall. As I told you, even though all of these work the same way and they are the same brand, we do have three different models. They're all extremely similar with just minor differences between them. The differences are mostly related to how you calibrate the pH meters, but not how to operate them just to measure pH, okay? Actually, I'm gonna use a pH calibration buffer. This is the buffer that we use, one of the buffers that we use to calibrate the pH meters. We used three buffers when we did the calibration. We used a pH 4 buffer, a pH 7, and a pH 10 buffer. So all of these have been calibrated with 3 points. And the only reason I'm using this is convenient for me right now because I have it, right? But this will be, assume that this is the sample that you need to measure when you're doing your pH measurements. So obviously the first step is gonna be to transfer the sample that you want to measure into a container. So that, you can use any kind of container as long as it fits your sample and as long as you can put your pH meter probe inside of it. In this example, I'm just gonna use a beaker here. Obviously, the beaker should be clean. I just rinse mine with DI water, so it's a little bit wet, which is why I'm shaking some of the water out. So, and then I'm gonna put some of my sample on the beaker, and then I'm just gonna put these on the side for now. Okay. Next thing I'm gonna do is, here is the temperature probe. What I'm gonna do is use my DI water square bottle, and I'm just gonna spray DI water on the probe to clean it. Then I'm gonna shake some of the water out, and then I'm gonna put it on my sample. Okay? Now, the next part is to remove the pH probe from the storage container, the container that has the storage solution. And what you want to do, you want to hold the cap of the storage container and then twist the bottle. Don't twist the probe, twist the bottle like so. And be careful that you don't spill the solution. If you do, that's okay, just let me know. I'll bring some extra solution to the lab in case that you spill these, and then we can refill it. Now these we're gonna leave open, so put it somewhere where you're not gonna like topple the bottle over, right? Okay, and so after you remove the storage container, this is what the probe is gonna look like. And the next thing I want you to do is to actually carefully slide the cap a little bit up the probe so it's not on the way, okay? Like that. Okay, these probes are, the jacket is made out of plastic and they're completely sealed, okay? So they're completely sealed, which means that there isn't a cap that you need to loosen when you're making the measurement, okay? And then the only thing that is not made of plastic is the actual membrane. So the membrane is a little glass bulb at the very end of the probe, and you need to be aware that it's glass because it's actually very, very thin glass and it's very fragile, okay? So be careful that when you're taking your pH measurements that you don't hit the glass membrane against your beaker, for example, and break the glass. When you should watch the videos, the links for the videos that are included in the description, but those videos are going to talk about junctions, and I'm going to show you the junctions on our meters. So these meters have two junctions that are made. They're basically really fine ceramic filters. And so I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little white dot on that side, and that's one of the junctions. And it has two. So there's one there, and right on the opposite side, there's another junction. And the reason why I want you to know about this is because in order to get a good measurement, not only does the membrane needs to be completely submerged in your sample, but that junction also needs to be submerged, okay, in order to get a good measurement. So as you can see, you don't need a lot of sample to get a good measurement, but I always want to make sure that I have enough sample so that, a good portion of the tip of the meter is actually submerged in the sample that you're measuring. Okay. So before you put it on your sample, you need to clean it. And to clean it, you're gonna use your DI square bottle, and then you're just gonna rinse the tip with DI water like this. The videos, okay, and then after you're done rinsing, just try to shake some of that water out. When you watch the videos, they'll tell you never to wipe the probe with paper. And the reason for that is because it's really easy to create an electrostatic charge that will give you inaccurate pH measurements. And that's a very common mistake that I see people making, where they actually rinse and then dry it. So you don't want to do that. So just rinse it and then just shake as much water as possible, and then you're okay after that. Okay, so now we can put the probe in our sample, and we're gonna check to make sure that the junctions are submerged. Okay, so on the actual meter, you're gonna turn it on. So you press the on button once, and it's gonna show you a bunch of values, and eventually it will show you a measurement, right? So this one is reading a pH of 6.97. So that's what you will record on your lab notebook. It's pretty stable right now, but if you see how the numbers are changing as I move, I'm just steering the probe on my sample, and you can see that the numbers are changing. So the numbers can drift, and that's very normal when you're using a pH meter. And so the trick, if you see the numbers drifting like they're doing now, you need to wait till the value seems to be stable enough, right? So I will read this as a pH of 6.94. Okay. If you want to find out what the temperature is, because temperature affects pH, what you need to do is hit the mode button down here. So you will hit mode, and that's going to cycle through all the different measurements that this pH meter can take. So I don't know which one is the next, but I'm gonna hit mode. Okay, and now it's reading temperature. So it's telling me that the temperature is 21.2 degrees Celsius, right? Then if I press mode again, it's gonna read millivolts. So it's telling me that there's a voltage of 8.7 millivolts. And then if I press mode again, I don't know what that is, so I'm gonna press mode again, and it's going back to pH. Okay, and then when you're finished, you're just gonna turn it off, press the off button, and then you're gonna go backwards. So you're gonna take the probe out, rinse it with water. So I tend to concentrate the rinsing to the glass membrane and the junctions. Okay, and then we're gonna shake as much as we can off and carefully push the cap closer to the tip. Then we will put the bottle back in, and just like before, don't turn on the probe, just turn the bottle till it's closed. And then look, I'm gonna have to push the meter farther down on the bottle to make sure the membrane is submerged, because right now it's barely submerged. So I'm just gonna carefully adjust that, push it all the way till it's submerged like this. So this goes back here, and don't forget to rinse the temperature probe as well. So just DI water, shake, 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 and it can go back on its bucket so that it's less likely to rinse. Okay, I'm gonna show you these other two. I'm not gonna read the measurements, but basically, even though they look like, I mean, they almost look the same with minor differences. But they all operate the same way. So you will just turn the unit on, okay. And then this one is showing pH. I don't know what this one is showing right now, so I'm gonna hit mode. There you go. So I hit mode, and now it's showing pH. So if I cycle mode, it's temperature, mode, millivolts. I don't know what that is, and then pH. And then this one, let's see. So if I hit mode, right now it's reading pH, hit mode, temperature, millivolts, and then pH. And that's it.